Then Mr. C, Mr. Cooksey, Mr. Crooksey, Mr. Cookies, Senor Gaitas. Oh, this is ridiculous. Okay, so here we go. Right now, this is what we got. This thing right here. Whoop, come on, baby. Looks pretty good. What I want to do is I want to add some interactivity to this button. Also, I want to make that button a little bigger too. So if I go down here to my CTA, that's the ID we've given to our submit input. And I'm going to say font size. Let's try 20px. Let's see what that looks like. Boom! I want to increase my padding a little bit. Now remember, when you just put one number in there, it repeats it for all 4 of those, which is super handy. Sign up. Now this button. Schwanky. And let's increase our font weight. Let's make it bold. Look at that. Just blows up. Now, one thing that I'd like to do, though, is I'd like to add some interactivity. So when I hover over this button, it does something. Makes the web page interact with you instead of just like having a click thing. So what I can do is use what are called CSS Transitions. The transitions are kind of like animations, but in CSS there are actually definite designations between CSS animations and CSS transitions. They're 2 totally different things. So we're going to use a transition. Now think of a transition as like you're standing in one place and then you're given a destination that you walk to, and then when you decide you're going to walk, then you walk to that destination and then you stop. You're done. Like if you want to go to the fridge and get a cold pop or something. So, cold pop? Does anyone say that? I don't think so. Anyways, so we're starting off here. We have a background color that's this light blue. And what I want to do is when I hover over this button, I want that to slowly fade into a green color. So I have to give this a destination. And I do it through CSS like this. CTA background color. Let's try this here. 00EE99. That should give us a green. Cool. Okay. Well, you might be saying, well, what the flip? No, there's no transition. It's just now green. Well, this is what happens when CSS happens. When we have 2 things that are the same, the most recent one, which is this one here, overrides this one here. Well, I only want to see this button color change when I hover over it. So we have to use what's called a CSS Pseudo Class, which don't even worry about it right now. Just know that it exists. Every element in CSS 3, which is the latest version of CSS, has this what's called a hover state. So it's kind of like a different variation of this thing here. And so when I hover over it now with my mouse, this CSS gets used. Otherwise, if I'm not hovering over it with my mouse, this CSS is getting used. See? Check it out. Boop, 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 boop. That in itself is pretty legit. Now, what color wouldn't we want to use here? Right, red, because red is stop, right? Green means go. So I want to create a transition. I want this to slowly fade to that green. And maybe I think I'm going to make this green a little bit darker. Let's try that, see what that looks like. There we go. That's a dark green. Okay, so here's where the transition comes in. So in the natural resting state of that button, we're going to create a transition that says when the background color changes, make it change 2 seconds. Make it take 2 seconds to change. So what's happening is when this hover gets activated, this transition here is slowing down, and it slowly transitions the background color, because we told it change background color. It slowly changes the background color from this value to the hover state value. So watch what happens. Oh, my dude. And then when we go away, it hovers back. And you can apply this to like all kinds of stuff. Like watch this. So you can apply this to padding if you want. So you can say down here that you want to change the padding from, what did we say, 16 pixels to like 36 pixels. And then when I hover over this thing, my button gets big ol'. All right, so now what if we wanted to transition 2 things using a timer like we did here over 2 seconds? So as soon as I hover over this, it just changes to the green. But what if I want to do the transition like I'm doing with the padding? So you just tell it, okay, here's the second one. So we're transitioning padding. Let's also transition background color again. And we're going to make it take 2 seconds as well. So as this thing is getting bigger now, it's slowly changing to green and slowly changing back to blue. And you can do it for all kinds of cool stuff. Like what if our font color here, we set it to black, and down here when it hovers over, we want the color to go white, right? So we say, okay, color, take 2 seconds to transition. And so now it's white. So just scratching the surface of CSS animations. Hope you guys have fun with that. And that's all we got. Okay, bye.